Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the men's room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the men's room.
Hey, away we go. Welcome to show number 2869. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, Woman Fox, and my cock, Montgomery! And you are in the men's room. On tap today, Ryan Castle's A Drunken Charge is into sit and spin. According to science, these are the 10 most danceable songs of all times. Science, huh? Return to Ask the Men's Room. Get ready to play Profile This, plus headlines, the Men's Room Shot of the Day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted. Click, clack. All right, here we go. Sad news from down under as a U.S. missionary dies taking a selfie on a cliff. We go to Ireland, where a man walks into a grocery store with his pet sheep, then gets into a tiff. Out-of-control dump truck in New York takes out an impressive 15 power poles. Oregon hiker finds child stuffed animal at 8,000 feet while taking a mountain stroll. And a naked man does yoga at the gym in the judgment-free zone. Immediately gets judged. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, the country of Japan has declared its current heat wave a natural disaster. Temperatures there have been over 100 degrees, and 22,000 people have been taken to the hospital with heat stroke. 22,000 people. And Japan's heat wave, lucky for them, that followed right on the heels of torrential rains and flooding. Now, closer to home, California's heat wave, it prompted a statewide flex alert. In case you're wondering, a flex alert, basically it's a call for people to try to conserve electricity to avoid the inevitable blackouts that are headed their way. We go to Phoenix. Now, Phoenix is a city that is notoriously hot, and it just broke its own record earlier this week when it hit 115. There's also a heat wave in Europe right now with record-breaking temperatures from Spain to Sweden. Meanwhile, on the East Coast of our fine country, they're enjoying temperatures in the mid-80s, which, let's face it, not so bad. On the other hand, that same East Coast has gotten swamped with 10 inches of rain and flash flooding from Pennsylvania to Virginia. There's a lot of severe weather out there, and that's what we want to talk about today. We've all been very, very hot. We have all been very, very cold. We have all been very, very wet. We have all been very, very parched. So today, we want to know, what is the worst weather you've had to put up with?
Be part of the big show. Call 844-999-OLA. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send your emails to themensroom@mensroomlive.com. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Welcome back to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Hello, Charles, and away we go. Welcome to show number 2869 with a large and in charge program we have for you today. As Ryan Castle, the Drunken Charge, is into sit and spin, and today we get the 10 most danceable songs of all times according to science, who broke down the songs that get your feet moving and get you out on the dance floor. There is some scientific method. Don't ask me. I have no idea how they deducted this, but either way, they say maybe it's for people of all ages, maybe it's for people on all skill levels, but either way, everyone seems to be able to dance to these songs.
Okay. Because when I think dancing, I always want the advice of scientists.
I just don't know. Apparently, scientists say that these are the ones that'll make you want to get out there and dance. So we're going to have that coming up with Ryan Castle. Our return of Ask the Men's Room. If you have a question for any of us here in the Men's Room, just shoot us an email to themensroom@mensroomlive.com and ask the way, as Ask the Men's Room is coming up right before we drink and toast with the shot of the day. Now, not that you've noticed this, depending on where you are in this great country of ours, but the weather has been acting up in some strange ways. And we'll start in Phoenix, where, let's face it, one thing we know about people in Phoenix, if you live there, you know how to deal with the heat. You know the level of heat. Not everybody does, though. And if you go down there, there's just as many people outside doing things, and they say, like, look, it's dry heat. We're used to this heat.
Right.
This is how we live our life.
That's the key. They're used to it.
You'll get used to it.
That's everything, right?
And people in Dallas go like, oh, God, it's too hot. Where are you from? I've lived here my whole life.
Right.
So there's a difference, in that level of heat based on the humidity and the dry heat. Yeah, you can. Apparently, that's a little bit easier to deal with. But in Phoenix, an excessive heat warning was issued for what they call a broad swath.
A broad swath.
A broad swath of the southwestern United States, with temperatures expected to approach 120 degrees in what forecasters say could prove to be one of the hottest days of the year. Now,
don't say.
I do remember this.
Of the year, not of all time.
I know, of the year. Like, okay.
My godfather, Tim Poor, God bless his soul, he was staying with my uncle in Phoenix, Arizona. And he's not used to that kind of heat. And he went there, I want to say, at the wrong time of the year, whenever it was. It was in the middle of the summertime. And for whatever reason, he just got up in the middle of the night, and he went outside, and he wanted to have a cigarette.
All right.
So my uncle had a little pool out in the back, and Timmy goes out there, and he has a cigarette. And according to him, he is just sweating immediately. Just like he starts to just drip sweat. So he's like, you know what, the hell with it. I mean, it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll just take off my clothes and jump in the pool. He jumps in the pool, and the pool is warmer than bath water. It's just so hot and still hasn't cooled off. And my uncle tells me to this day, he remembers being woken up by Timmy screaming and going, Jesus Christ, Bill, you live in effing hell. And he was screaming it at the top of his lungs. He might have been somewhat inebriated at the time.
Guessing, yeah.
A little bit drunk. But
you live in hell.
You live in hell. It's that hot at that point in time.
Well, some places are that hot. Like, I have a buddy who lives in Austin. And I was going to visit him in the summer, and he's like, don't bother.
Don't come.
Don't do it in the summer. When my parents lived in Austin, I went down for one Christmas, and it is the only Christmas where I sat outdoors to eat.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was cool, and it was a very nice dinner. But
that's weird.
It was just strange because it was like 75 degrees, and then the rest of the year it's 100.
And oftentimes, even when you do live in the desert, when the sun goes down, it gets cool. There's a reason that deserts, they get cold. I mean, the temperature sways. National Weather Service said that southern Arizona will experience temperatures from 112 to 119 degrees through Wednesday. That heat warning extends to parts of Southern California, including the desert communities of El Centro, Palm Springs, 29 Palms, as well as north to Vegas and other parts of Nevada. We've been hearing for weeks that Vegas is just absolutely unbearable.
Oh, yeah.
As far as being able to even sit out at the pool or do anything, basically. And Vegas is built for that. You can stay inside the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but ideally when you go, I mean, if you're at a hotel that has a pool and you don't get to see the sun much, that sucks that you can't do that. Parts of Utah were also issued an excessive heat warning, with temperatures this week expected to approach, in Utah, 109 degrees.
And you live in Utah. That's just a double beating.
So, okay, all right, that covers the southwest of the United States. And it is hot. And it doesn't look like it's going to cool off anytime soon. Now, as you said, East Coast Steve, not doing so bad.
Yeah, mid-80s for the most part.
Mid-Atlantic, sure. But numerous tropical downpours.
Where's your mind?
Downpours. I'm going to download some of that. Since the weekend have caused flash flooding in parts of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, where water rescues were reported and a disaster emergency was declared in at least one Pennsylvania town. Parts of the interior Mid-Atlantic have been swamped with up to 10 inches of rain in less than 48 hours.
Damn.
2 to 3 people had to be rescued after becoming trapped in a building surrounded by rising floodwaters in Leonardtown, Maryland. Who knows how that happened? Evacuations were reported just after midnight morning east of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. One of the most heavily impacted creeks in the region is the Swatara Creek. That is over the brink there. Flash flooding reported in eastern Pennsylvania. Hershey Park closed down.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal.
And you got to keep in mind, it's humid. You're talking 85% humidity.
Right.
So it's like torrential downpours, and it's like gross and sticky.
Yeah, you're wet all the time.
The Zoo America is underwater. It's flooded. So, yeah, all the animals
A zoo
in there.
flooded?
Yeah, Zoo America.
Where the hell is Zoo America?
It's at Hershey Park, apparently. One of their newer attractions. No idea.
What do you do if a zoo floods? I mean, like, people you can put up in a hotel if they have shelters, but, like, what do you do with a tiger?
By the way, Hershey Park has reopened. They opened this morning, apparently. They do have some temporary ride closures due to weather conditions. So there's
Who wants to
things.
go to an amusement park when it's downpouring rain? Like how much business do they think they're going to drum up if it's pouring down rain? But we're open.
Well, but it's an amusement park, so some people have been there for a few days. They're staying in a hotel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm with you. Like I wouldn't drive there.
Right. I always live close to it, so it's just something you drove to.
Oh, my God.
Right?
Listen to this. In Virginia, electricity was cut off Monday at the North Landing Bridge. The North Landing Bridge, that's the tip down all the way. Underneath?
I don't know.
That's under the water. That's the one where you take the ferry or you go into the water on the bridge and it pops up on the other side. So you need electricity because you can't see because that thing goes underneath. That's like where you go to the very bottom tip. So if you're going south to Chesapeake Beach, and you take that all the way down to the bottom part, think South Waldorf.
Yeah, like connects basically what? Virginia Beach
to Virginia Beach. Yeah, there's a bridge.
You can't get there now.
But if the bridge goes also under the water. So it's kind of like it's cruising along, but if you're under the water, you can't see anything.
I thought that one was just called the Bridge Tunnel.
It is, but they call it officially the North Landing Bridge. Over the weekend, there's all sinkholes have formed in portions of Maryland. Mid-Atlantic was swamped by floodwaters, including the Washington, D.C. and Baltimore areas. 7 inches of rain. Water rescues were reported in Arbutus, Maryland, if you can believe that. Mount Airy, North Potomac. These are all very residential suburban areas.
Yeah,
this is not podunk anywhere. Heavy rain will continue all through the week. So there you go on the Mid-Atlantic. There's your report there. Real quick here, we go to Europe. It is so hot right now in England, they don't know what the hell to do. It's so hot that, oh my goodness, 32 degrees Celsius it is.
What does that mean?
About 91, 92, somewhere in there. Okay. Right. From the interior of Spain through much of France, Netherlands, Belgium, Western Germany, both days. Well, when you lived in, you don't remember the weather in Germany. Was it ever really, really hot when you lived there, Robin, or was it just average?
I did not really get a chance to live there beyond about 3 months, but I've been back a few times, and it's been cold enough in July to make a fire at times, but I understand that things are not too comfortable right now. It's a lot like Seattle weather.
Okay. Even the World Cup this year, like in Russia, it was so
Those
hot.
guys were dying, man, yeah.
Dry weather in Sweden will hinder efforts to put out numerous wildfires that affected the country in recent weeks. Firefighters from several other countries, France, Italy, Norway, Germany, Poland, have assisted in the efforts. The heat will reach locations, they say, all the way to Sweden, which is normally never this hot.
Sweden.
So there you go.
Crazy fires in Greece right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, it was horrible what happened this morning. We'll get into more of what's going on. That's just skimming the surface there. Our question, what is the worst weather that you have had to put up with? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Michael. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bitches.
Hola.
How's it going, guys?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Pretty good.
Thank you.
First time caller, long time listener. I've been waiting years to get on your guys' show.
Well, we just tried to start talking about the weather, and there you are.
Yeah, that's right.
So what's the worst weather you had to put up with?
So when I was in the active army and I was deployed in Afghanistan in 2012, during their summertime, we had went on a mission, and the weather ranked in at 153 degrees.
153 degrees?
Yep. It was so hot that when we got back from our mission and we took our body armor off, our sweat had actually completely dried, and there were salt rings all around our bodies.
Yeah. Hey, look, man.
Looking good.
And obviously, this has nothing to do with the weather in Afghanistan. Not close to 150 degrees. But we were just talking the other day about a gentleman that we used to work with, and we worked with him here in Seattle for, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I don't know. Either way, he ended up going back and working, ironically enough, in a building that I used to work in Baltimore, Maryland. Now, one thing you have to know about Baltimore, Maryland is the humidity is just a mother. Mm-hmm. So we work with a lovely lady here, and she says, you know what, I ran into our buddy, and you should see him. He's lost like 50 pounds. He looks like a stick. He's all, and Steve, and you said it like, man, when you live in Baltimore, you just sweat the weight out.
Yeah, I was like, look, man, whatever your BS weight, like if it's like 10 pounds and it's, or whatever you call, like, you're going to lose that in a week, man. Oh, yeah. All of that. Like, you don't have to. She's like, he might be exercising. Like, no, he's not. He walked outside.
I sweat a lot, but I remember I sweat constantly.
You hear that, ladies? Miles sweats.
But I think the difference is, sorry, like I grew up there, but there's still a lot of fat people.
Oh, there are.
And same with the
Well, yeah.
South. Whereas, like, I think when you go to, like, Arizona or, like, Southern California where it's consistently hot all year round, those people, I think, stay thinner because it's so hot.
And also
Maybe
their
so.
diets.
And
I
they
mean,
can go outside all year round.
If it's not fried, it's just not that big of a deal on the East Coast for the most part, right? Mid-Atlantic up.
Yeah.
Like, nobody eats healthy. So, yeah,
No.
there's fat people, but think how fat they would be if they didn't live there.
I know, but
think about that,
When I went
man.
back to the East Coast, it was chicken wings, sandwiches, pizza.
Right,
There
that's
wasn't
it.
even, you couldn't even find a vegetable within, 100 square miles, wherever I
God
was.
bless 'em.
I mean, it was like insane. Like the closest thing, well, we have iceberg lettuce. There's nothing. For our hamburgers.
See, I love it. I'm like, that is great. No errant vegetables ever really ended up on my plate.
What is the worst weather that you've had to put up with? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Dave. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bicholas.
Hola.
So this is about 4 years ago. I was in a place called Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, so Southeast Asia, essentially. And
Wait a minute. Why do we know that name? What is that?
You've heard of it.
Capital
Yeah,
of Malaysia.
okay. All right, okay.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah, it's the financial capital of Malaysia, but it's also one of the biggest financial hubs of all of Asia Pacific.
Okay.
Outside of like Singapore and like Hong Kong, those are like the big three, right?
Is that why you were there?
That's also a very volcanic area, isn't it?
I didn't get a chance to
Okay,
check that
all
out.
right.
Miles.
Maybe I'm
It
wrong.
could well be.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Could be. No, I wasn't there for finance. So I've always been in software my entire career, and I was doing some training. And my boss at the time, a Russian by the name of Ivan, said, David, the situation's very simple. What they need to do, go Malaysia and basically train these people because we have to certify them so they can train for us. And I said, okay, well, that's fine. When you want me to go? He wants me to go in late March. And I think, oh, okay, well, hopefully it won't be that bad in Southeast Asia in March. That's springtime, right? Wrong. That's actually the hottest time of the year in Malaysia. That's when they regularly get in like the mid 30s Celsius, which is, like you said, the upper 80s, low 90s and stuff. Well, my luck, when I'm there 4 years ago, they were flirting with their all-time record of about 40 degrees Celsius, which is just under 110.
And there's no air conditioning, I'm assuming?
Well, it's funny you should mention that because they typically do, but when you get that hot, it really puts a strain on their infrastructure, which isn't fantastic all the way around. And so, yeah, the air conditioning and the servers and everything went down, while there was also humidity in excess of 90%.
See, that's ridiculous.
That's
That's like standing in boiling water.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You think that's maybe like a third world thing or like some other country, whatever. They just asked the Californians not to turn the thermostat up to more than 78 for the exact same reason because they don't want to blow the grid.
Right. But we know one thing about Californians. They're going to turn on their air conditioner, and then they're going to bitch about the blackout.
Well, what's crazy is, so everything goes down in this center for blocks around, and the guys there say, oh, sorry, man, we can't do the training because our servers are down. We can't, connect to your servers in Seattle and do this training. So you're just going to have to stay here or come back. And I was like, there's not a shot in hell that I am ever going to come back to this place.
I hope you said that.
Was it because it was that hot or it was just that bad?
Oh, it was just that. It was just so miserably hot. Like the only thing that was a respite in the entire time I was there was my hotel room. Thankfully, they put me up at a really nice hotel room, so I had it just icy. Like I could almost ice skate in my room, which is what I was hoping for. But the rest of the time was just living hell. So I said, no, we're going to fix this right now. So I get on the phone with my boss and I tell him, look, here's the deal. I'm either flying away and I'm never coming back, or you're going to get on the phone with whoever you need to and get these idiots some generators and get this happening. Later that day, there were some people who knocked on the door of the business, said, hey, we've got generators and stuff from Ivan Lakovnikov over in Moscow. Where do we put them? And I said, talk to these guys. Let's
Russians fix problem immediately.
I put bullets in head if you not get generators.
Exactly. That's
Your
great.
choice. So say you're on a game show.
I was able to do it.
All right, you're on a game show, right? And the big prize is you win a trip for two to Kuala Lumpur, and it's going to be in March. Would you go, or would you just sell the tickets?
5-star resort.
Okay, now 5-star resort, and I'm in like the financial district, and I'm not going to some place like I was, where they know the Americans are going to be there and Western Europeans, and so they absolutely have to have things. Just fine, sure. I'll pull the trigger out on any day. But if I'm going to go to some little podunk in their suburbs and urban there, or a rural area, No, not a chance in hell.
What you're cruising? Is there what's the local food? What's the flair on that? Would you eat anything crazy?
Not really. So they're a Muslim country, so like bacon and all that kind of stuff is off limits except for...
That's why you don't want to go back. Just admit it.
Because then the buffet is not good in the morning.
Right. You take bacon out of the buffet. It's
no sausage.
And no alcohol.
I'd say no booze. That's
Oh, no booze.
Yeah,
oh, my God. So you can even smoke weed or nothing.
No, God, no.
Oh, man. I'm not going there on vacation. I don't care if it's a 5-star resort. If it's all-inclusive, who cares? Because you can't drink, and all the good food's not on the menu.
Oh, no, I agree. Like that. Like when he first
deal
said
breaker.
Kuala Lumpur, I'm like, man, that'd be interesting. Let me listen to this. He pointed that out. Like, check it off the list.
I would say, look, man, we got to have our training somewhere else. And then they can come back and work here. Mm-hmm. Like, there's
fly them here.
Surely there is a closer destination that we can go to, a different country. You know what I mean? And hang out and be debaucherous. We can all train. No generators needed. And then next thing you know, like, boom.
No offense. I mean, just as a global rule, if you are in a country that gets that goddamn hot, you should legally be able to drink by age 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you are that hot and miserable and air conditioning's down, a cold beer will do you some good.
You're right, but most of the hottest countries, right, in the Middle East and stuff, there's no booze.
Sure. No. I'm telling
but you go to Dubai, you're going to be able to get some booze.
Yeah, Dubai.
Wow.
No.
Yeah, but where else?
You can.
But where else would you go? I mean, there's no real other options unless you're military.
Just Dubai, man.
I mean,
That's
we know
it.
somebody that was just in, like, Morocco, and they were like, it was tough to find, like, a place to get a drink.
Really?
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What is and that's all we care about. What's the worst weather? Yeah, we don't need culture. What is the worst weather that you've ever had to put up with? 844-999-OLA. Hold the line where your call is coming up. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
All right, Castle, the drug and charge coming into Sin Spin. According to science, these will be the 10 most danceable songs of all times coming up with the drug and charge, Ryan Castle, and Sit and Spin. All kinds of crazy weather around the world right now. Our question, what is the worst weather that you've had to put up with? Through the break, Robin, you said you worked in a bakery, so it doesn't necessarily have to be outside that kind of weather. It's just the climate, the environment.
No, just the place you're in that was horrendous due to the heat or the cold.
And you were a baker.
Yes.
And how hot did the bakery get?
Oh, man. In the summer in the south, right? So your humidity's on average 200%. Say it's 95 outside because that's just what it is from June to September.
Right.
It got up to at least, I distinctly remember seeing the thermometer say 125 pretty regularly.
And half the time, bakers are in there at 2 o'clock in the morning on the overnight. So it's not even like you're in there in the middle of the day.
But you have to keep working. That's the thing. If people keep ordering the food, the kitchen's hot. You're like,
how hot were the kitchens when you worked in New Orleans?
I mean, New Orleans was a different game, man. And so, I mean, look, one thing they do, they take the time to cool the kitchens down, right? Because they understand how hot it is. But the first place I worked when I was in New Orleans was a pizza joint. We are on in New Orleans. So I will spare the name of this place.
Why? Because you think they're still in business?
I know for a fact that they are.
Oh, really? Well, then they must have pretty good pizza.
Dude, their pizza was knockout fantastic, all right? The pizza was delicious.
Do they owe you money? You just don't want to give them a plug?
No, man, it's not that. But the thing about this joint was this. So there was a prep room in the back, and from there were 2 big doors that opened outside, okay? The room in front of that was where we actually made the pizza for your order. So in this back room, the prep room, there were vegetables, and there's proofing dough, so there's balls of dough everywhere. On my first day, I walk into that prep area to grab some pizza dough. When I walk in, there's like 40 pigeons in there, okay? And they are eating tomatoes, they're standing on the dough, they're pooping everywhere. So I chase them all out, and I realize because the big back doors are open. So I chase them all out, and I go to like this little private parking lot that's there. And I close the doors, I walk back up front, because, now keep in mind, I was coming from Maryland that has very strict health code laws. Mm-hmm. So that's my mindset. And I walk to the front, and the guy who's training me, I say, hey, man, there were like all these birds back there, man. They're pooping. So in my mind, we got to get rid of the dough. We got to start from scratch. Blah, 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 blah. He goes, well, what'd you do, man? I said, well, I chased him outside and closed the door. Somebody left the door open. He's like, hey, man, you got to keep those doors open. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you have to keep those doors open. I'm like, the birds won't leave. He's like, we know about it. We don't care. You just need their footprints out of the dough. And he's right, man. And that, I'm not kidding. So in the amount of time it took me to tell him
That's why you don't want to tell anybody the name of the place.
No, because the thing is, Their pizza is delicious. It really is.
It's got that special
and
flavor.
Maybe the secret is bird droppings, but
that's comforting.
But here's the thing. In the amount of time it took me to have that conversation, 2 minutes maybe, I walked back into the room to open the doors, and he's right. The temperature had skyrocketed. It was unbelievable how hot it was. But I opened the door, and the pigeons are still in the parking lot just staring, like waiting, like, bitch, we knew you'd be back. So you just let them eat. So as I got used to this, anytime you had to run back there to get something, you just kind of went and swung your arm, swatted pigeons away, and grabbed what was there. That's why I don't want to say the name of this place.
What is the worst weather that you've had to put up with? 844-999-OLA. Well, you can throw them on the bus. I don't think the Bayou jumps on until another 15 minutes. Yeah,
the pizza place is still going to be in town.
I know.
Oh, no, it's there, man. It is still there. But delicious
they
pizza.
They still got to keep the door open.
That's a crazy
Just
thing.
like anything else.
We got a couple of comments here as far as what's the worst weather you've had to put up with. MLS Cup 2016. It was so damn cold. We could see the temperature on the billboard across the freeway. -3 degrees was the lowest I remember seeing. We were in the stadium for about 7 hours. It was bone chilling. By the time you left, you just couldn't get warm again.
Hey, Toronto.
Yeah, I was going to say, was that in Toronto?
Yeah, but they say it was worth it in the end. Obviously, they're from Seattle.
I have been to I usually prefer the cold, but I went to an Army-Navy game once, and it was so cold. You know how your teeth chatter?
Yeah.
My butt cheeks did that.
Damn. Damn.
Again, worth
Your
it.
ass chattered?
Worth it in the end.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That
twerking
is-
before it was
I've
cool.
never even heard of that before.
It was a whole thing.
Damn.
Luckily, we snuck into the suite level where they had heaters.
There you go. Keep that ass from flapping. There's one time in late summer, early fall, we're getting ready to leave the house, and we lived in a very heavily wooded area. We walked about 10 feet out the door, and the wind started blowing like crazy. The pine cones started coming down like golf balls. My brother and sister took a couple, one on the head. That makes me laugh. I was stationed in the Arctic Circle, northern Alaska. The weather generally reached as low as -60 to -70. Your hair freezes and breaks off, and the blood vessels in your nose break often. And then finally, it says hottest just north of Phoenix. Car read 125 degrees. Coldest, Mount Bachelor in Bend, Oregon. Top of the mountain was closed due to it being too cold. Halfway up, -60 with the wind chill. Still went skiing, had the whole mountain to ourselves. Ended up having icicles off my eyelashes.
I was in a field as a kid with a bike, and worst weather that ever experienced was hail. Not just because there wasn't anything I could do about it, but the hail was significant in size. It wasn't golf ball size, but it
even
was still,
marble size. It's falling from thousands of feet.
It was about marble size. It wasn't smaller hail. And there was like 3 or 4 of us where kids were biking. It's the summer,
Yeah.
This thing rolls up. There was nothing that we could do. There was no place for us to go. So we didn't have any place to hide. Man, it was pelting us. And
How bad did that suck?
It just hurt. That's the thing. It just hurt, man. It was pegging the top of your head and crap, man. It sucked.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.